This week's video is a little different. I had a few questions in the comments over the past few weeks about how did I get into this, where did all the tools come from, asking about the pocket watch collection. So if those questions are ones that you're interested in, stick around and I'll answer them in the rest of this video. Hi. So a few questions over the past few weeks in the comments, mainly about as a rank beginner, how come I have all of these tools? Well, let me tell you how it kind of began. I'm going to very briefly go back to my background and where I came from. Most of you will have twigged by now with the accent. I'm English. I was born in England, raised in England, and after college, I was basically an IT guy my whole life. I founded my own company called NSS Labs, which is still going strong here in Austin, Texas. Founded that back in 1991. And basically we specialized in testing and evaluating high-end internet security systems. So that's kind of where I got the bug for doing product reviews, if you like. That's kind of why I like doing them as part of this this channel. I like comparing different vendors, different manufacturers, different models, basically giving my honest opinion on whether I think it's value for money, whether I think you need one, whether I think you should buy one. So that's kind of my background. And 2000s, I moved to France. I lived in south of France for 10 years before coming to the US. And I moved to the US 2011, then full-time 2012. And that's kind of a couple of years after that is when I got my first pocket watch as a gift. And I was hooked. I mean, I am, as you probably figured from all the stuff, I am a big fan of vintage stuff. My parents were antique dealers, and so I kind of grew up around that. And I just thought that these pocket watches were beautiful. You open the back and look at the movement, and just amazing to think that they made these things hundreds of years ago. And so I was bitten by the bug, and around about 2015, 2016, I started collecting these things with a passion. And the collection grew pretty quickly. I'll show you the collection shortly. But I realized pretty quickly I was spending almost as much money on having these things serviced and repaired as I was in buying them. So I decided if I wanted to continue this as a hobby, I'd better be self-sufficient in repairing watches. Well, that was the idea anyway. And so I started buying the tools, and pretty quickly came to realize that the tools themselves, these vintage tools, are just as stunning and wonderful craftsmanship as the watches which they were made to repair. So I got bitten by the tool buying bug around the same time, 2016. So I've been collecting this stuff for over 10 years now. And I tried to do a few repairs early on, mainly focused on replacing crystals, putting movements in new cases, in new hands, new dials, and that was kind of the extent of it. I did try and service a couple of pocket watches. I alluded to that in my first on video repair that I did, which I will link in the description if you haven't seen that yet. It's worth a watch. If you're already into watch repair, you can have a good laugh. If you are looking to get into watch repair and you're looking to be inspired, that's not the video to watch. But if you're looking to get into watch repair and you're thinking, well, if this idiot can do it, so can I, then you need to check that out. So I didn't get very far with watch repairs back in the day. And then kind of work took over. I went on a hiatus for several years. And just recently, our youngest son is in high school, a couple of years' time. He's going to be moving on to college, and we figured we're going to have to downsize. And I thought I'm going to have to sell the watches. I'm going to have to sell the tools. I'm going to have to start to declutter. And so that's kind of why I got back into the repairing idea. I realize if I'm going to sell these watches and I'm going to get a good price for them, then I'm going to need to make sure that they're running properly, and that means I'm going to have to learn how to service them. So that's the journey I'm on right now. To date, I've just done the one. I am preparing right now for my second repair video, which is going to be this Elgin pocket watch. It's not running at the moment, so I'm not sure if that's a smart idea, or whether I should pick another movement that is running so I can tell whether I messed it up or not. But that's going to be my next video, so stay tuned if you want to see what I learned, if anything, from the first one. So that's just a potted history where I came from, how I got here, why I have this pile of tools behind me, and there's a whole bunch more around this studio, this office. And so that brings me kind of to the second part of the video. And again, I'm gonna keep it fairly short, but I figured you might want to see what's behind the camera. You might want a little more detailed look at what's on the shelves behind me and see the rest of the office. And who knows, I mean, maybe you'll see some things that kind of pique your interest, and you can drop some notes in the comments about, hey Bob, I'd like to see you review that, or tell me about this tool or that tool. And I would love to get some input along those lines. And I think probably about time to switch the camera around and let you see what's going on behind. I'm going to use my iPhone on a gimbal. Now, I've already shot this video, and it's not as steady as I would have liked, so apologies for that. But I think it's good enough to give you an idea of what goes on here behind the camera. And so, without further ado, let's get to it. Behind the camera, we have the cameras themselves. My side camera, top camera is the Sony RX10, and my main camera is the Canon EOS R50V. On the workbench is the 4K monitor for the microscope camera, movement holder, the screwdrivers, Dumont tweezers in the carousel. In the background, the time grapher, and various other tools that I use during servicing, and always on the lookout for tool holders of that kind. And as we take one last look across the workbench area, you can see the newer lighting panels that I use for lighting. And notice I can easily pull out the camera, tripod, and lighting to make that workbench huge. This is a closer look at my kind of day-to-day tool shelf. A lot of the AliExpress big red tools, Amazon tools, those wonderful oilers, my Burgeon automatic oilers. Here you see on the shelf above the staking sets and other tools. And this, if you remember, if you haven't seen the last video, you need to go watch it, because this is the little mini staking set I'm giving away in a week's time. So you need to go and watch the previous video on evaluating staking sets and see what you need to do to enter that competition. This could be your staking set in just a week. And on the rest of that shelf, we have poising tools, jeweling presses, a Jacot tool, screw polisher, the two staking sets you've seen in previous videos. Above that, we have tank clocks, aviation chronometers, those 3 dome K&D staking sets, more aviation and naval chronometers. Above that, just generic tools, lathe collets, screw polisher, vintage crystal presses, And top shelf is stuff for sale, a Bulova microscope, various staking sets, some poising tools, and an Inverto frame. As we move over to the desk area, you see opposite the workbench a multitude of screens there because I also do some day trading. And the shelves that I'm looking at while I'm talking to you, on the bottom, generic tools, screwdrivers, what have you. The middle shelf there are all cleaning supplies. Here's my electronics shelf, the multimeter, bench power supply, soldering irons, and everything about that is for my other hobby, which is lockpicking. Underneath the workbench we've got my lathe, and at the bottom of all those shelves we have all the watch parts cabinets. I've got dials, hands, various parts. Above the cleaning supplies is a whole shelf of all the photography and videography stuff that I use. Above that is my shelf for airsoft stuff. And these are the drawers in the workbench now. As you can see, this one I'm getting ready to set up a Gridfinity system, 3D printed organizational tool, which as we go through the rest of the drawers you'll see I need desperately. So here, this is just a mess on this side. Definitely need the Gridfinity. All my cleaning supplies, finger cuts, blah blah blah. Here we have the smaller old vintage tools in these two drawers. And quick tip there, you see the Huggies. Those Huggies are great for cleaning down your bench and your bench mat. Move to the other side of the office. You see as we move back, we have these shelves full of watches, puzzles, what have you, as we move back into the desk area. So it's looking down the office. We've got some of my modern wristwatches on the automatic winder, shelves at the other end of the room, and into the watch collection. I had this cabinet was custom built, really useful, nice glass tops. In the first drawer we see all my size 18 pocket watches, railroad watches. In the next drawer we've got more size 18s, a lot of Walthams, Elgins, size 16s, a lot of Hamiltons in here. I like the 992B, and below that a lot of military Hamiltons, the 4992B, various chronographs, and the bottom shelf's a mixed bag. Down on the other side of the office we've got whole drawers full of watch parts, crystals, etc. All vintage drawers there. We've got ship's chronometers at the back, beautiful chronometers there. And then all my 3D printing gear, the Bamboo Lab X1C with the AMS unit, filament dryers, and behind that automatic winders for modern watches and the manual wind wristwatches. Well, hopefully that was interesting. If you stuck around this long, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. This is one of those videos that I'm never quite sure if it's something I should make, because sometimes people are interested in the personal stuff and your workspace and all of that, and sometimes it feels a little self-indulgent, and I kind of worry that I might be the only one here. So if you are watching still, thank you, I appreciate it. If you would like to see more of my adventures in repairing old watches, then definitely stick around. Like I say, about to embark on my second repair video with a pocket watch. And if you would like to have a closer look at any of these tools, if you would like to see more content like this, drop me a note in the comment. And if you could, then please consider giving me a like, a subscribe, hit the little bell button so you know when the next video is coming up. And until next time, goodbye.